This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
All right, thank you. And welcome to everybody to the Southampton Council on Aging, March 2nd, 2022.
I can't hear anybody anymore.
Board meeting.
Jim's lost the audio.
We're fine. Did you mute your computer by any chance?
We'll have to use the chat box.
You can't hear any, yeah, he's the.
He can't hear us, so we have to use
I
the
know,
chat.
that's the problem as the
We could hear you before.
clerk. We can still hear him.
Isn't there something to, when we can hear him and he can't hear us?
Audio.
Isn't there something on his,
Yeah,
it's like join with computer audio?
Oh,
Yeah.
participants, yeah. Let's
can
see.
he's in on audio. So
Oh.
it shouldn't be, it's not the Zoom. I'm just wondering if, because he can't hear us, he doesn't know this, that he has his computer button muted itself, the computer itself. So let me give him a quick.
We got that.
We can hear you. We can hear you.
He can't hear you say that, but okay. Let me
Well,
try to
kinda
give him a
like
call.
Good idea.
Bear with me a minute. I'm going to mute myself.
Game of charades to start.
I love charades.
Hello. Say something.
But we can hear him.
We can hear you.
You can hear
I
us
can
now?
hear you now.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Oh,
Thank
okay, good.
Mystery solved. Okay. All right, as we were saying, it's the March 2nd, 2022 Council on Aging Board meeting, and we are being recorded. So just to give everybody a heads up and welcome. So we will now officially call the meeting to order now that our secretary can hear us, which is always an important part. And I just kind of a quick update. So we have Sylvia, Lori, Jim, Jonathan, Josie, myself, Janet here from the board, Joan and Rini, and our guest for the next couple of months or month. Is it going to go that fast? Katie and Gianna. So welcome, everybody. Nancy hopefully will join us after 4:30. So she may be in her car. And then Cindy Palmer is going to join us around 4:32 for 4:30 also to fill us in on her achievement, her request for the grant for our support. So let's move on. So the meeting's called to order. Can we take a look at the minutes, Jim, real quick? Because I had a couple things I just wanted to mention, and we can either have a motion. Well, let's not have the motion yet. Jim, can you see the minutes?
I have them before me.
Okay, well, I mean, if you look on the screen to see them, you'll see that I have a correction under Friends report. So the Friends elected, well, I guess so it's a little confusing because Andrea stepped down. Michael Neal was appointed by the board as chair to finish out Andrea's term, and Andrea was appointed by the board, the Friends board, as vice chair. Francine and Flo were elected at the January annual meeting. So just for clarification, I don't know if it needs to be that, but Mike was really appointed by the board and Andrea was appointed by the board as vice chair, but the rest of the members were elected at the annual meeting in January. Is that confusing?
Yes, but if you, after the meeting, could send me a copy of your revision, I'd be happy to incorporate it in the minutes.
Okay. Jonathan, did you have a question?
Yeah, since it has to do with my report, I just want to indicate that when I indicated that I was reporting on January and February monthly meetings and the January annual meeting, all of which had occurred since we had met in January. And for simplification, I'd indicated who the officers were as a result of the elections, and that it was complicated January and February, and I had some detail. But you know, technically, I think they're all elected. It just depends for our minutes just how specific we want to be. I was just reporting these are the new officers, you know, for the new term for the Friends.
So technically, it's my understanding if there's a Friends annual meeting and it's open to members, then they're elected. But when the board, when there's a vacancy and someone steps down and the board appoints, it's an appointment. So that's, to me, the clarification. So we're appointed. We're not elected. So because we're appointed by the select board. So, I mean, I know it's maybe not a big deal, but again, Flo and Francine were elected at the annual meeting by the membership, and Mike and Andrea were appointed by the board. So that's the difference. And I'll get that to Jim. Okay, does that?
Okay. So can I make a motion that the minutes be amended to reflect what you have mentioned?
Can we make that plus a couple of typos?
Typos? Me? A typo?
So in the middle of the screen here, where it says select board has approved posting to the program coordinator position. Do you see that, Jim?
It looks like poison.
Above it is the word should be other. It's just really typo things. If I had seen it before today, I would have told you before today, Jim. Sorry.
Actually, I had commented on position.
Okay. So,
I misspelled position.
yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Do you see it on the screen or not?
Uh-huh.
Under the little red lines? That's the only way I look, takes my eye there.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we can make a motion.
I so move.
Okay.
That we adopt your corrections.
Okay, somebody second?
Sylvia.
Okay. So let's take a quick roll call vote. Sylvia,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Jonathan,
Yes.
Josie,
Yes.
and Janet. Yes. Okay, thank you. All right. Let's move to the treasurer's report. Okay, be right there.
Janet, do you want to hold the treasurer's report until Nancy is at the meeting?
Since we reviewed it with her ahead of time, I'd rather her spend more time on some of the other parts of the meeting that she might miss.
Okay.
If there are questions about the treasurer's report, we can table them till she joins us. But to move things up the agenda, because she's already pretty familiar with the treasurer's report, if that makes sense to everybody, that way she gets to see what else is going on at the meeting, more or less. She
Okay.
gets more. of the-
Okay, I do have one question about the treasurer's report.
Okay, can I share it, please?
Can
Okay,
you share the report?
yes,
If you can share the report, then I can point out what it is.
that's what I'm doing. Good.
Yeah. All right. Under the, and you may have gone over this before and I wasn't paying attention. I don't know. But under the COA town local revolving, and I can't move it. So if you can go down to
Yeah, I'm going. Tell me where to go down to.
the bottom.
Okay.
And the other, there's this condition of accounts or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
What is that telling us?
That's something we're gonna clarify tomorrow with Bradley.
Yeah, go ahead, Jim.
Originally, we thought there was a positive number in that account. It doesn't look like it. It looks like it's a negative a number, but we're contributing to that account on a regular basis. So that's money in, money out. So I'll be meeting with Bradley tomorrow afternoon.
Okay.
This is based on the accounting report that comes out of, the expense report that comes out of the accounting office, Josie. These
Right.
2 lines. So there's a discrepancy here, and it may be something to do with carryover that may with the local revolving, because that usually carries over. And so Joan has an appointment to sit with Bradley tomorrow to get to the bottom of it. as she
Okay,
said. Okay.
thank you for that.
Yeah, no, thanks for pointing that out. So let me know what, I know for Jonathan and Jim are still having, we're going to try one more method before the next meeting to hopefully give them access to the little notations underneath, because that seems to be the, what they're missing, the details here. So anybody have any questions, or Jonathan or Jim, anything you would like me to highlight that from everybody else's review?
No, I think that if we're able to work out this issue, it will enable Jim and I both to, certainly myself, to be very much aware of what's happening before the meeting and eliminate any questions. Right now, there'd be too many questions.
Yeah, no,
So-
I understand. That's where we're trying to work. That's, as we talked about last time, the fact that there's so many Mac users and 2, I'm surprised Jim's a Microsoft user, but anyway, right, Jim?
I think everybody should buy Microsoft, right? That's what you said, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, so this is, we'll try to, we have a fix we think we can use by Nancy having to going to a different computer before she sends it out, because exporting doesn't capture the information behind the little corner triangle, so. But I think we're pretty much on schedule as far as our tracking. Let me just see where we are with state formula grant. So we'll talk about that in a little bit, but that number is correct for what we have today. So we've spent only 37% of that. We're at 49% of the van, which is good, because I think it may pick up in the spring, right, Joan? And we are closed that month, so we'll see. I mean, I think we used it still, and we're still, the federal government still mandates masks on the van, so that will proceed until sometime in mid-March, if that gets.
March 18th is what they're saying right now, but that could change.
Yeah, that's the date, the target date at the moment, so. So do we have a motion for the treasurer's report?
I
Jim?
move to accept the treasurer's report.
In a second?
I'll second.
Okay, is that Lori? Great,
Yes.
okay. All right. Friends update, Jonathan.
Do we have to vote on the treasurer's report?
Oh, I'm sorry, yes, Mike, thank you, Jim. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now we have to do a roll call vote because we're recorded. So Sylvia?
Sorry.
Sylvia? Unmute, I need to record.
Sorry,
it.
yes.
Okay, Lori,
Yeah, I,
Jim,
Aye.
Jonathan,
Aye.
Josie,
Yes.
and Janet, I. Okay, great. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, friends update, Jonathan?
Friends met yesterday. They're staying steady at $13,000 in the bank. There was some talk about, well, first of all, let me just say that the number of members, about 145 right now. Before the pandemic, they were around 200.
Okay,
So they hope as things rev up again, that number will go up. They've now formed 2 new committees as of yesterday, a membership committee and a fundraising committee. And there was some, I think the immediate thing on the fundraising committee is going to be the auction fundraiser that is now scheduled for the end of August. So there'll be more on that. I think they're looking for other ways of raising funds, although that's to be determined. They're excited. They remain excited about a possibility of a new senior center. And for the money that they've got for right now, they've talked about the possibility of buying some lock boxes. And I forget whether that's something that Gianna and Katie are involved in as one of the means of helping seniors and their security. But that's one possibility, that they buy a certain number of lock boxes and arrange for a certain number of seniors who need them to pick them up.
Or they may raffle at least one at the April 13th function.
Which is something I think that either Joan or Gianna and Katie are going to talk about as part of their reports.
Okay.
And that's all the news, other than the stuff that Joan will be reporting on.
Okay, great. All right, thanks, Jonathan.
Jonathan, I have a question. Are the lock boxes, or do the Friends just recently take that over, or was that something COA used to just do, or have the Friends taken it over?
Joan?
That was a grant from Triad. We got a grant for 20 lock boxes, and maybe years ago, it was something that was more used, but I'm only been here for a few years. So as far as I know, the only times the lock boxes came into play was there was a grant from Triad, and they got 20 boxes, and we're just about, I think, at the end of those, but Friends did say they would purchase or give us money to purchase more if we needed it.
Great.
So is that through the police, or is that through the COA, Joan?
Triad is police, fire, sheriff's department, mostly sheriff's department.
So
The one that does
the lock boxes I'm talking
The
about.
lock boxes come from the sheriff's department and the police department.
Okay, so it's not a COA. You don't hold the lock boxes.
I have the list. So if you
Right,
want a
okay.
lock box, you call us. We put you on the
Okay.
list. I notify the lieutenant, and he and Dave Fenton from the sheriff's department go put them in.
Okay, great. Thank you. Just clarifying the process. Good.
Janet, if I could just
Yes,
interrupt
I'm
one
sorry,
second.
Lynn. Go ahead.
I would definitely, before Friends go spending money, check with Dave Fenton. This is one of his babies. And I'm not sure that they still would not give out lock boxes. So we may be spending money that we don't need to spend, or Friends would be spending money they don't need to spend. But
Okay.
that was something that Triad originated. Like I say, it's like the emergency number system. It was something else they were offering.
Okay, is it,
Triad stands for Law Enforcement and Seniors Working Together.
and Joan, has anybody asked them for additional ones and they've been denied, or?
We have not asked them for
Okay.
additional ones. I know we're probably at the 19th or 20th. And so, no, they have not been asked. We haven't had a meeting for over a year and a half because of the pandemic. So, but they're planning to come on the 13th of April. And before that, I can call Dave and see if that's a possibility.
Okay, great. Thank you. Or yeah, email or whatever works best. Okay. Intern updates from Gianna and Katie. So who wants to go first, or you want to go in harmony?
I can start off talking about our Code Red updates.
Okay, great.
So as we're throwing out April 13th, that is a date that we are holding a security workshop kind of, or safety workshop. And where the main topic is Code Red. So Gianna and I, over the past few weeks, have been coming up drafting Code Red flyers, some posts to post on social media. And so we actually did start distributing them. So we went around Southampton last Wednesday and delivered flyers to local pizza shops, coffee shops. So we went there, and then we also did send out a little post to be sent on the Southampton community Facebook pages, as well as fire department Facebook pages, And we are also going to put it in the Tiger Talk for the schools. So we are getting the word out. We are going on spring break soon. So when we come back, we plan on just getting the word out and about April 13th and really getting that date sent out to Southampton.
Okay, and I don't know, maybe you're already going to report this, but I think we've had some additional folks sign up for Code Red. Do you have
Yes,
the
we
number to
did.
share?
So Ed actually did just send out the February, and between the first data that we got and February, I think it was 36 additional people already
Great.
signed up in the month of February. So we are moving in a right direction.
Could you explain what the April 13th function will be? I
Sure.
didn't see that listed anywhere. So
It's
what is it going to
must be
be?
under the intern update or director's report. It's may not be identified because we don't always
Yeah,
identify. Okay, so go ahead. Who wants to take the lead on that?
So it started out as we wanted to provide an opportunity for people who maybe don't have internet access or aren't tech savvy to get signed up for Code Red. So we were just going to have our laptops out and about and like get people to come to the center and we could sign them up for Code Red. And then it kind of turned into, well, let's see what else we can incorporate for senior safety. So Katie and I are going to give a presentation about the lock boxes, the triad house numbers, and personal emergency response service like Lifeline or whatever service you could use. And we're also going to have a table to sign people up for Code Red. So it kind of grew.
And Rini,
You're
Are
on
you-
mute.
muted there, so I thought I saw your lips moving.
And the police chief, the fire chief, the public health director, and Triad will all be there on the 13th also.
Nice.
And the word's going out to the seniors, probably in the newsletter for April.
They might even make the front page.
That's
And
good.
we mentioned it in all of our advertisements for Code Red specifically. We put that April 13th at 11 a.m.
Okay. Is that just before bingo?
Yes.
Okay.
Coincidentally.
So they're gonna come early. We're
Yes.
gonna get them there early.
There probably some food to entice everyone too, besides the great topic. So, good. Anything else to update? Katie or?
They just went to Highland Valley today, and then last week they went to Dopa Fit, just to learn what they do and to also get advice about and spread the word about Code Red. So
Great. Two great places. I hope you had a good day today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was awesome over there. Everyone's so enthusiastic.
Good. All right. Jim, do you have any more questions on the 13th or
Nope.
anyone else? Did we
I
have
have-
it?
I think I have
on our-
enough for the minutes.
Okay, good,
That's all I
good.
needed.
And have we posted it anywhere yet, Joan? Is it up on our
On
Facebook?
our Facebook page, it's at the center.
Yeah.
I want to personally thank the nursing interns because they have added a lot to our place once a week. It makes a huge difference because they're there for hours. And, you know, they've done some outreach. They've visited people in their homes and at their living space. And they've helped out organizing and doing things at the center. So it really has been a great addition. Thank you.
Great. And what's your week of break? What's your break week?
It's not next week, it's the week after.
All right, great.
But they
next-
have something for next week as well.
Yeah, good. Enjoy your break too. All right, any other questions, Jonathan?
Yeah, I don't know, was it in your report, Joan, a copy of the flyer that they did? The flyer, I happened to see it, and it's also, I ran into it at the library, and Rini brought it to the Friends meeting yesterday. It catches the eye. I think it's very well done, and people might want to take a look at that, and we'll also give, the particulars of what's happening on April 13, if that can be sent around to the
Yeah, can we
board.
send that to the board, Joan? That's a good idea.
I'd be glad to do that, and it will be in the April newsletter. It wasn't not in the March
No,
newsletter.
yeah, the April one was- and to Robert Floyd, can you send it out to him when it
Yes.
gets closer?
He
Yeah.
actually already posted it in his.
Oh, he did?
community.
Okay.
Yeah. The librarian, she was very helpful, and Barbara, she told us everywhere to put it.
She's
All
told
right.
me to do that also.
Okay, moving on.
Oh,
Thank you both.
Can I just say, well, while we've got Katie and Jana here, that, I think we owe a lot of thanks to them. I know Joan's already noted that, how helpful they've been to, within the center, but, they really bring a lot to this. You've learned quickly, and you've really been doing your homework all along, making the contacts, finding out what you need to know in order to bring off some of these projects. And you're self-starters, and I think that's just really wonderful for the community. And I want to thank Rini for coming up with the idea of having nursing interns here, and I hope it's something that continues in subsequent semesters. I think there's a lot that the community gains from it.
Yeah, thank you, Jonathan. Well said. Yeah, I think I said something to Rini about the enthusiasm and the confidence is just amazing. So keep it up.
Thank you, Katie and Gianna. We really appreciate all you're doing.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you for having us.
So it's certainly at your leisure, whether you stay or leave. So, but I do appreciate you joining us today to report in. And I did want to note that Nancy has joined us. So welcome, Nancy. I know you're muted, so, and video's off, but thank you for making it today's meeting. Moving on to the director's report.
So I had sent one out. We had, actually, we were closed to the public until the 14th of February. And then mask mandate just came off last week on the 23rd, and 90% of people are not wearing masks. There are a few that still feel comfortable wearing the mask, which is understood. Our numbers are going back up again. We're getting motivated to plan some other activities in April and in May. And, we hope everything keeps going in the right direction. Our summer trips, those are getting planned. And I was disappointed that even though the Memory Cafe did get posted on the big Lions Den, we did not have one attendee.
Lions Club
On the Lions Club sign, the biggest sign in town. And unfortunately, they did change the date though, and for the next one, for the 24th. So we're hoping that, it'll catch someone's eye. And we're going to try and, maybe open it up to other people. I know Rini and I had a conversation. She happened to be there the day of the Memory Cafe. The reporter showed up, and, we did some mock or model photos and say like we were setting up for it. But anyway, there is a stigma around it. It's very difficult for people to maybe accept or face that that's maybe one of the, issues they have is memory issues. So I know Huntington is doing it weekly, and they have an open forum where anyone can attend. And it can be educational, it can be entertaining. But, we'll keep it going and keep planning it. It's unfortunate, when you don't know who's coming or how many are coming. I planned for, 15. And so I did have to spend money on food that we later distributed to the other seniors at other activities.
Joan,
Just
do you
curious,
know-
how was the weather that day?
Perfect.
Oh,
It's lovely.
So
The
quick
article
points.
did appear in the reminder, by the way,
Oh, it did?
Oh, I missed.
at least according to Robert Floyd's email,
So it was in Robert's letter too?
letter.
His letter
Yeah.
too?
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, it just came in today, as I recall.
Oh,
Okay, yeah.
And I read it in Robert's newsletter.
Okay, good. Thanks, Jim. And, you know, maybe if there's room on the board to put music with Lisa or something, because I think to have something to come for and understand maybe a little, I don't know if there's room on the, I know Sylvia's been working with.
Yes, when I got in touch with Senor Lumbra, I did tell him that entertainment was pending confirmation, and that I will send him the information as soon as we got it. So I'll get in touch with him tonight.
Okay, good. And it's going to take more than, posting on the sign. So we just have to keep plugging away at it. And do you know how many people show up per week in Huntington, Joan?
I think their numbers aren't great. I mean, because I had one time we had 18 people and they were amazed at that. I think they're more like a dozen people.
Yeah, I mean, they're a small community, but they pull from other area towns, I guess, too.
We'll see what Sarah the Fiddler draws on the 16th.
Yeah. Okay, so and what does Lisa do?
So she is a guitarist. She sings and does rhythm instruments, and she's very engaging. As I talked, she said she's not a music therapist. I've known her from the past. She engages folks with the music and tries to keep them either singing or at least rhythm tapping and being involved with music. So
okay,
we'll see how it goes.
Okay, sounds good. Is it in the newsletter for March as well? I mean, is it listed? Do we have an article every month on it?
I believe so. Let's see, I have the newsletter here with me. I mean, obviously it's on the calendar, but I know we had talked about putting it in every month. We had that lovely page about the nurse students, interns. That was, let's see.
I know while you're looking, do you know when they did the mailing? Because I don't think they've been received.
We don't have the mail. They were supposedly did it Friday. So people have not received the newsletter yet?
Got mine.
Oh, you did? Okay. Ours doesn't come. Okay.
I didn't. come.
Sylvia?
Yes, I'm just thinking about sending to Easthampton the flyer about Memory Cafe with Lisa's announcement.
I will definitely do that. And I apologize, it does not appear in this newsletter.
Okay.
So we did get the technology article in, and we did get, the article about the walk, but then I missed the one about the Memory Cafe. So.
Okay. Yeah, it's probably good to have it in there. All right. So
I just have a quick question. I keep hearing Memory Cafe and Westhampton is open to everyone, but isn't ours open to everyone?
So Huntington. So we
Huntington.
focus on couples. We focus on, a partner, a person with memory issues and their caretaker, i.e. could be, spouse or brother, sister. It could be and so that's how the focus has been. And that's how the memory cafes are set up. But I think because we're so new to our area, I think people really don't know, what it's about. We almost have to have an orientation, like an orientation to everybody come and we'll talk about what it's all about. There were like 3 different couples that are from town that have been, but didn't come back. One had a doctor's appointment that day. And, but Lisa had mentioned call them the Monday before and say, oh, we're going to have the Memory Cafe again. You came, would you come back again? We're going to have music. So have a personal invite.
that makes sense.
So we can do that. We could do a personal invite to the ones where we have contact information.
Thank you. I was just trying to clarify.
Can I'm going to ask if somebody would mind before we finish the director's report, because I did ask Cindy to join in about 4:30 and she is here. So if we could have a motion to move the open space grant discussion up in the agenda.
Don't move.
Okay, Jim, a second?
Second, Nancy.
Okay. Oh, Nancy, okay, good. Welcome, Cindy.
Wow,
So many friendly, familiar faces. A few I do not recognize. Gianna and Catherine, hello.
There are interns from
Oh.
UMass Nursing Program that Rini has coordinated for us.
Wonderful. So you want me to talk? Is it?
Please.
I'm sort of shy and reserved. Got to give me a kick, you know?
You
Hey,
got
Cindy, can I say something first?
Of course.
I just want to let Katie and John know that Cindy is a registered nurse, actually, and used to work for Bay State Hospice. And before that, Health New England, and who knows what else.
Yep.
Anyway,
A
just wanted
long,
to-
complicated road to the present. And once a hospice nurse, always a hospice nurse. A very dear friend left the hospital this recent Saturday, went home on hospice. And by 4 a.m. Sunday morning, she went to the next place. So.
I'm sorry.
That was Lee,
Pardon me?
Lee Tonette.
That's right, Jim. That's right.
Yeah, yeah, you're a very dear friend. Yeah.
Yep.
So, Cindy,
Okay.
let me just introduce you as the chair of the open space.
Right.
Here in town.
Um,
For those who may not
Thanks.
know that.
Thank you, everybody. Yes. I'm here as the chair of the Open Space Committee, but I want to be clear that this grant that I'm going to talk about is not an open space grant. So I'm in my role supporting this particular conservation project, but the grant is sponsored by our water commissioners, and it is called a drinking water protection grant. Janet, did you share any of that
Yeah,
information?
I sent out your 2 attachments to
Okay.
everybody at the end of last week. So hopefully everybody had a chance to take a look at them.
Great. It was long, but just as a quick overview, this is actually it's a 76-acre property. If you were to drive north on Pomeroy Meadow Road, and just as you approach the Easthampton line, if you look to the left, you would see kind of an open space there, and then just a couple of houses. But beyond that, it's the north branch of the Manhan River. The actual conservation area does not really include the majority of that open space. That's actually a different part of a different parcel. It sort of goes around like a horseshoe around that large open space that's there. But the 76 acres it's a critical conservation land for the protection of our town well. It's considered an important recharge area for that over the Barnes Aquifer. The owners of the property, it's the Courtney family, and there's actually 4 different subsets of the family that have agreed that this is what they want to do with their land. They want to see it permanently conserved. And the water commissioners are 100% involved with this, and they have already identified this as absolutely critical land for the protection of our town well. And also, in a not terribly indirect way, it supports the well in Easthampton. And as many of us probably know, there have been times just about every single year when Southampton has to tap into Easthampton, especially during high demand periods. So that's a very small part of all of this. So to acquire this property, Kestrel Land Trust has really spearheaded the whole process. In fact, the owners went directly to Kestrel, and they have proceeded to put together the application for the drinking water protection. This is a state grant, and yet it will need a 50% match from our town. And the way we approach that, as I'm sure all of us know, is to go to Community Preservation Committee, and the committee starts by reviewing it all and then hopefully agreeing to having this on the warrant for the town meeting, which will be in May. It's important that, and I just got off a Zoom call with the state related to applying for a different grant, totally unrelated to this, but it's still, excuse me, it's still conceptually the same thing. When some town or entity, municipality applies for a grant, they want to believe that town residents are supportive of it. They just don't want it to think it's just something separate and one small group is, thinking it's a good idea to apply for a grant. And they absolutely appreciate to accompany the grant application that major boards and committees are aware of it and hopefully can send a letter of support. So Conservation Commission, Planning Board, Open Space Committee, right off the top of my head, we already have created a letter of support. So I contacted Janet, and because this is the board that primarily represents the seniors in town, a significant reason for being in Southampton. So I asked to come before you, the board, to certainly ask any questions and determine if you, the board of the Council on Aging, would support the application for the grant money.
So let me open it up. First of all, I think protecting our drinking water is one of the key needs in our community. We've always had great drinking water, and hopefully it never changes, but that's just my kind of 2 cents. Anybody who has questions?
I mean, on the one hand, we're increasing our development, and on the other hand, we're having a depleted snowpack, which really doesn't bode well for recharging the aquifer. So, I mean, I think it's essential that we save every piece of land here that plays a role in recharging our water supply. Because, I mean, without water, we don't exist, really. And at some point, Easthampton might even start hurting a little bit. We share the same aquifer, so it's essential, I think. So I don't know if anyone's looking for a motion, but I would certainly move, if it's appropriate, that we join in and send a letter to the appropriate party.
Do we have a second to the motion?
I'll second that.
Okay, Josie, and I can open it up for further discussion if there's more questions after the motions are made. So do we have any other questions or concerns? Or, I mean, what your ask of us is just to put in writing in a letter to support the grant and to accompany the grant application. And I do understand it's from the water commissioners, and it's not just Southampton folks looking for more open space. It's protecting our valuable resource. So anybody have any questions or concerns? Or Rini?
Cindy, did you mention the amount of the grant and the amount from CPC?
They do have the information, but yeah, it's about, do you want me to bring it up? I might have it.
Yeah, well, it was, the total amount is a little over 400,000 right now. And then the match would be in the 200 range. I'm sorry, I don't have the exact numbers. Did I give those to you, Janet?
Yeah, it's right here, Cindy. Okay.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great. Yeah, so there it is. So the total estimated cost of the whole project, which includes appraisal, legal fees, filing fees, et cetera, is 443,700. And then what the town should need to come up with is 230,000. And that's in the I'm sorry, 213,700. The grant would be 230,000. Yep.
So the CPA funds, are they already separate? I'm not familiar with the CPA in Southampton. Are they separate already? Do they put the 1% in a fund?
Oh, we as a town were we're in fact one of the original CPA communities. So I hope I understand your question, Joan.
And we contribute 3%.
Oh,
right.
That's marvelous. It is marvelous. And this year we got 100% match from the state.
Wow.
And we always get the highest percentage of match. And some years it's not quite 100%, but this year again, it was 100%.
So there's 213,000 available in that fund.
Yeah, and I will be clear about this. The CPC is going to be meeting again next week. They're checking the numbers, so we can go ahead and vote on it. Rini was at that meeting too.
Wow. it's a good chunk of change, and I know that CPA can be used for historic and recreation and other things as well, so, but it's important, very important.
And so this falls under the open space and recreation section, right?
Or possibly the
Or
undesignated.
undesignated.
Undesignated. Okay.
Right.
Jonathan, did you have a question? I thought I saw your hand up before when I called on Rini. Rini?
Oh, he's gone.
Rini already asked the question. I think it was Jonathan's turn. Yeah.
That's why I said when I called on Rini, I saw Jonathan's hand up, but he's muted. I don't, do you have a question, Jonathan, or no?
There's no way to turn off the phone there. So,
Actually,
first of all, I've got great respect for Cindy and what the Open Space Committee has done in just a few short years, saving a lot of land, conserving a lot of land in Southampton. And I think the community's come a long way these last few years. As an individual, I certainly have no problem supporting the grant. The merits, I think, are, to me, are plain for both drinking water as far and with respect to recreation and the need to conserve that open space. My concern, though, is this coming before this board, that I think it's inappropriate. It strikes me as inappropriate, I should say, that this board should be taking an issue on this, or taking a stand on this issue. I feel that just about anything in Southampton impacts, that any item of business impacts seniors citizens, but I don't think impacts senior citizens more than it does any other part of the population. I see the connection between the elderly and our mission to promote the needs of the elderly. See no connection between that and support of this grant. So I think there's other committees that make more sense for support of this, such as Conservation Committee, Board of Health, CPA Committee, which Cindy has indicated already, and of course the Select Board at some point. But I don't think this is the committee. There's other issues in town that other committees are going to be taking are going to be responsible for promoting, and we can support it if there is that connection, if there's that nexus with our mission to protect seniors. But just because seniors are part of the population, and that the population as a whole in Southampton, in our opinion, will benefit, to me is not sufficient reason to support it. So on that process reason alone, I don't think it's a wise idea to support this, as much as I personally am in favor of this, and as much as I think that other groups are going to be able to give that are more relevant to this, are going to give Cindy the support that she needs, and the Water Commission.
all right, thank you, Jonathan. We have Nancy with her hand up. And again, we're not here. We have a motion, we have a second, we have a discussion, and then we're going to vote. So everyone's welcome to their own opinion. So Nancy, go ahead.
So just briefly, I would say I understand what you're saying, Jonathan. And I would say that we're just as good of a committee as any other committee to support this. And that if Cindy could get as many committees in town together to support it, that would be great. And for that reason, I think we should.
Yeah.
Okay, Jim?
Yeah,
And then
Jonathan,
Laura.
I don't see this as a direct conflict of interest issue. And the body that we're going to be writing to is not about, it's not like the assembly where we're just writing in support of a lot of different things to the same group. This is a rather focused place that we're going to be writing to. And I think that there's really nothing as important as water. I mean, it's the, and I think that seniors have a grave concern about you know, like development and taxes and all those other things, and preserving their property values. And I think one of the things that drew us here was at one time Southampton had the best water in the world or something, and that's in jeopardy. And so I think that, you know, seniors are citizens, and I think it would be good for us to take a stand. It's not a conflict of interest. I don't know of any, you know, statutory prohibition for our getting involved. And I think it's just an act of good citizenship, in my opinion.
Thanks, Jim. Lori, I think you had your hand up.
Yes, and I just want to say thank you, Nancy, because she read my mind, because that was my thought too. And I don't understand why we can't be one of the committees that supports it. There's nothing that says only one committee can support an issue. You know, and I would hope that all the committees would support this.
Okay, so if there's no other discussion, we'll go through roll call.
Can I just make one comment? There is a precedence here, by the way. The Council on Aging formally supported, I believe, the other grant that was awarded to acquire the property that is also Water Commission property on the lower Pomeroy Meadow area. If you go down towards the school, and if you're driving south, you'll see it on the left, same side as the school. There's perhaps 7 or 8 houses in between, maybe not that many. But the Council on Aging supported that one. I don't know if anybody remembers that. Were you on the Council on Aging at the time? So there is a precedence for this.
Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to vote. Yay or nay? Jim, you counting?
Am I counting? Yes. Okay.
Sylvia, yes or no?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Jim?
Yes.
Jonathan?
Abstain.
Josie?
Yes.
Janet? Yes. Nancy? Sorry.
Yes.
Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yeses, 1 abstention. Did you get the same, Jim?
Yes, I did.
Okay, great. Okay, so the motion stands.
Miraculously.
So we will, if I can have the authority from the board to assist in drafting a similar letter that we had done before to support this, and move, if someone would make a motion or give me permission to do that and forward it on to Cindy, because I think the deadline is in the next week or so. So I would need a motion with your permission to do that.
I so move.
I second.
Okay, and here we go again.
Feels good to say that we give you permission.
Yeah. Thank you. Any discussion on that or concerns? Rini?
I don't have any concerns about your writing the letter. I just wanted to say that on the article for the town meeting, which will be May 3rd, there'll be a warrant article that'll say, do you support this at the level of, if we get the grant, the balance coming from CPC? And then it'll say, do you support this in the event that we don't get the grant at the whole 400 and something amount? Again, all coming from CPC if the grant doesn't get achieved. So just want to let people know that it seems like the CPC is in support of this. We're just waiting for the balances and the accounts for the CPC. And chances are it'll be on the ballot, it'll be on the warrant for town meeting.
Okay, yeah, so after this occurs, then it has to be voted on by the town. So everybody gets to weigh in. Okay. So permission or authority for me to draft the letter and send it forward on behalf of the COA board. Sylvia?
Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
Jim, you had to think about that, Lori. Jim?
Yes.
Jonathan?
I'm not sure what the question is.
To authorize me to draft the letter and forward it to Cindy on behalf of the board.
Well, it's not appropriate for me to vote on this.
Okay,
Right.
Josie,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
and Janet. Yes, okay, great, thank you.
Janet, just to be sure, you're not going to forward it to me. I'm going to supply you the correct person to forward it to.
Okay, great, yes, thank you. I'll be in discussion with you in the next day or so, okay? Great, so I make sure I get it to the correct address. All right, thank you, Cindy, for joining us, and back to,
Thank you for all your good
Yeah.
work, everybody. Bye-bye.
Hi.
Cindy.
Cindy.
back to the director's report. So there were a couple items I'd asked Joan to kind of bring us up to date on. One is, and it was in this March's newsletter, it's a promotion of the Walk Massachusetts Challenge. It's open for all ages. It's an intergenerational, and it's a collecting of miles over a certain part of time. Yeah, I think you enroll a amount of time. You enroll in April. You start counting miles in May. I'm just giving a very high level. It was on from the MCOA, so it was in their town site or their email list. And again, there's $1,000 for the COA possibly, and it's also, I think, Dunkin' Donut gift cards for people that achieve certain levels. You have the article in front of you, Joan, or?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah,
Anything
it's
else?
on page 9 of the newsletter, so.
Oh, good.
But yes, I think she's really got the feel for it, but it's May 1st through October 31st. So it's a good extension of walking. And we also may have a kickoff walk in May, first week in May, but they're choosing 4 sites to have a kickoff walk. So I don't know how many people, signed up, but I did ask, since we do have a walking club, I did ask if we could be one of the sites.
So that would include people from all over the area and cost of the police and also other,
Have no
And
fear.
this-
I don't think it would be hundreds of people, but I mean,
still, you would need, I'm not saying hundreds of people, but it's for our core area, and there would be additional costs associated with it. So I
okay.
don't know what we have to do, or you have to do as a director to get permission for all of that, I guess, additional cost and where that would come from.
Okay, I will
I'm just-
check with MCOA. We may not even be chosen. I don't know how many people, requested it. We did have Lynn Wolf from MCOA come to the intergenerational walk we had on a Saturday, which there were 40 of us. And I don't know if we had one policeman, I don't remember, and I never got a charge for that, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I'm just saying we should investigate. I don't know, Joan, but I just remember.
I think the
reading-
police got called away. They didn't even show up because they had something happen.
But if we're like a regional location, if there's 4 in the state, I'm just saying you just need to investigate a little bit. That was my
And we
suggestion.
may not be the appropriate place. I mean, they're looking for places maybe that have a track or a trail, which we do not have.
Okay. All right.
So we're not restricted on where we can walk. It's just a matter of having some means of counting your steps.
Right. I mean, if we could have it in the park, but if we had, we have a parking issue, the library uses that parking lot, depends on what day we go. And so there could be issues if it was more than couple hundred people.
But for those that want to participate from May to October, yeah, no, it's not a organized. And I do think maybe we can get a copy of that article into the Tiger Talk. Joan, what do you think about that idea? Now that it's been brought up today already once.
What's the Tiger Talk?
It's Norris School.
Oh,
And if there's another one for, Hampshire Regional, and so we can really promote it as an intergenerational activity.
Speaking of Hampshire Regional, could we use their track as a venue?
I don't know. I will have to look into that. I didn't even know they
I mean,
had a
it's
track.
a beautiful track.
Is it nice?
Oh, yeah,
Very nice. Yeah.
really nice. It's very well kept.
Okay, well,
So Joan, let me get to, if we sign up, we keep track of the time we put in.
right,
It would be like your RSVP hours.
yes.
We keep our own.
you do it by hours or by miles or
I think the
steps
last,
or-
I think Janet and I, and there was 3 other people that were involved with it last year. I think they'll either take hours, steps, distance, like I think I did it by miles, I just put like, so I did a half a mile a day and I walked 3 times a week. So, a mile and a half or whatever a week times the hours. So, but
Oh, okay.
very good.
Thank you, Joan.
No, that was Janet.
Oh,
It's
Janet.
it's a
thank you.
techie one. It's the techie one. So anyway, so I open to everyone ages 5 and up. We got about 85 prizes to the walkers, up to $1,000 for COAs. We also have an easy to use dedicated website, so they have to, and there's a marketing toolkit for, I guess, the COAs to use. So I'm just looking to see if they, I don't think the website's completed yet. But again, and maybe, I know our Parks and Recs and the schools, I mean, we don't have, we have volunteers for our parks group, but we can certainly bring it up at the meeting next week. And reach out to maybe the phys ed teacher at Norris, also put it in Tiger Talk. Reach out to, anybody have a suggestion in Hampshire Regional, a good venue to get to them?
I'll find out.
Okay.
I'll find out. If they
Now,
have a newsletter or
Could
something.
we get people who do not live in Southampton to walk for our COA?
We did last year. I think it was the Westfield couple.
Yeah, I don't
I've
know.
got a
I don't know, Lori.
couple
As soon as we
Westfield
get,
people.
well, also easy to use dedicated website for tracking. Okay, we're asking that older adults without computer and an access work with their COA to enter their walking. So you need to go to their website, but I don't, and we'll have to take a look at the marketing toolkit. If everybody received the newsletter, you should be able to, did everybody get the email for the newsletter in it? So you might be able to take a look at the marketing toolkit,
Yes.
and we'll take a look at it too and see how we can support Joan to get that.
If there is other types of exercise besides walking or running are okay. I mean, what if somebody's doing pickleball or any other exercise? Can we count the hours or the?
I don't know, Josie. We'll have to see what the website says. This is what I have right now, so we'll have to take a look and get more answers to that, because it does say for tracking walks. So I don't know if if it's just tracking steps, tracking walks, so I don't know. I don't have an answer.
This is not a one-day affair at one venue though, right?
No, this is from May 1st to October 31st, right, Joan? You said?
And is there any way of like certifying how much people walked?
You have to go online and.
The honor system.
Oh dear.
Yeah, but you do have to report it,
No
on the
cheating,
website.
Jim.
Well, I'm wondering, well, I can't walk anyway, so like, but you count going around Big Y or something, it's.
You never know.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so yeah, stay tuned for more information, but we'll try to find ways to engage other parts of the community and really we always talk about intergenerational, and here's a great opportunity, so. All right, we talked about the Memory Cafe state formula grant. I sent out a document. I'm kind of late today, but it kind of outlined what the grant is like and what's kind of different about this year. Joan, you want to touch base on that?
I don't have the document in front of me, but I guess the bottom line is that in the formula grants have always been based on the census of the federal census every 10 years. But every year we would have to submit a budget, and we would get the same amount of money for 10 years based on the population from the census. So from 2010 till now, we've been getting $14,496 a year. And we can use that for wages. We can use it for events. We can use it for furnishings. There's a list of things you can use it for. They are now going to, we do no longer have to give a budget or a breakdown of how we're using that money. And we'll be getting, we don't even get a contract every year. I think it's good for 10 years. Is that how you read it?
I
That's the
think
way I read it, yeah.
what it's called is a rate versus a contract, a rate, where's the word for that? Rate contract, so it's a rate contract. So it's a 10-year, it goes from till fiscal year 32.
But the number should go up once the 2020 census is implemented. So the number should go up next year. Just they didn't have the numbers to use. I mean, our town will go up. And they changed the dollar amount. It was, $12 an hour, but when I started
For senior.
25 years ago, it was, $7 per person for senior in town. So right now they asked for 12, they got 12, right?
Yes, yep, but it's the 2010 census, so
2010 census.
at this time. So I mean, in the past, we'd scramble like crazy to spend all the money, and at the end of the year, first of all, we had to start out by outlining exactly how we were going to spend the money. So it sounds like that's no longer a requirement, that it's a grant, it's for each community, and we get the money. We used to have to submit invoices. It was a very cumbersome process, I think, for accounting and for tracking. And then at the end of the year, you had to try to show a zero balance. So now you don't have to report your monies at the end of the year. So if you don't spend it all, you don't get hurt by being deducted the next year. So those are, really positive, I think, things that help us to really manage the money, in a less cumbersome way than we've had to do in the past with accounting and everybody having to be involved. Joan, though, so it wasn't signed off on last night at the select board meeting. Could you follow up with Ed to make sure?
I didn't know it wasn't on the agenda. He had it in the office, so it must be on the 15th agenda. I'll verify
Okay.
that.
Yeah, just to make sure it gets through in a timely. So, any questions on that, though? I mean, it's just, if you weren't that familiar with the old way, but it's just really less cumbersome, much more user-friendly, and we get the money and we don't have to send back invoices we just have to commit to following the guidelines that have always been used for spending of the monies from the state. So any questions, comments? Okay. So program coordinator posting. So it's on the website, right, Joan?
Yeah, so unfortunately it was a week later because I was out a week, but it should have been posted on the 14th or 15th. So we're just almost at our 10-day mark. But we have not had one application yet. So I know Janet was working diligently to get the SGCC and the HCC career sites to post it.
And it's very awkward. I haven't had any success in actually getting it loaded up either. I tried it last night, Joan, and it's just not very user friendly. So I'll keep plugging away and see if I can get some success there. But
I think we need to get the word out more, and I'm not sure exactly how. I mean, if anybody else has suggestions on where to post. I know Janet mentioned the Facebook page. We had to verify that would be kosher to do that. I don't see why not, but MCOA has it on their website.
Yeah, so it is in the newsletter, the e-newsletter we get from MCOA, so it's there.
Yeah, RSVP had it in the letter also.
Okay, great, good. And we could maybe send something to Robert Floyd. I don't know, anybody have any other ideas? We just need to get it out beyond Southampton as well.
The reminder?
I don't know if they do. Is that the classifieds conversation again? I'm just kidding. No, it's easy.
Classified ad.
Yeah.
Some do charge for classified, but I'm not sure if the reminder is one of them.
I don't know if it
Pretty
is.
lengthy. Right. In your network, Joan, I mean, maybe sending it out to Easthampton and Northampton, and maybe they have people that are interested. And I know you sent the job posting to Golden Moments to some of the folks from there to see if any of those folks would be interested as well. And is there any other?
Well, I can look at some of my other business emails, although a lot of them is other council on aging and they're connected to MCOA, but I mean, maybe a more personal note and then word of mouth. So I can do that. There is a mass mailing for the Western Mass Council on Aging directors.
Okay. All right. Any other thoughts? Anybody?
Yeah, I noticed that ServiceNet is spending huge sums of money advertising for employment opportunities on television and stuff. And I'm thinking it might be really, because it's part-time and so forth, somebody just looking to fill in a few hours a week would be qualified and so forth,
If they meet
which
the
maybe
criteria.
thinks of things like PTOs at various schools,
Hmm.
Easthampton, Norris, parents who are seeking just a couple hours a month or a week rather,
A week, yeah.
however number it is.
It's
I mean,
14 hours a week.
There is some
Because
quali-
I don't think that the traditional recruitment areas are very successful. I've had a lot of people who own businesses complaining that it's very difficult to find qualified people. So
I do, Jim, the only thing is there are qualifications that have to be met for the position.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm saying that they probably, there are people out there who are qualified, but
Yeah, okay.
don't have a lot of time, to apply for a 40-hour-a-week
Yeah.
job.
Gotcha.
Who might be really looking for something.
Okay, and John, we talked about you, to see if Ed, what the cost is for Indeed.
I haven't talked to him about that, but we have a department head meeting tomorrow, so.
So maybe he can give us some ideas about getting it out there that way. Sylvia?
What about posting it on the public access channel?
It's a possibility. Again,
It's
I would just
free.
get,
They just keep repeating it.
yep. That couldn't hurt.
That's 191 through Easthampton Media.
Yeah. Okay.
Good suggestion.
It's like a PSA.
Yeah, yep, good idea. So between that, if I mean, we have enough, probably enough money to put it up on Indeed for a little bit of time. I don't know how much the cost is, though. Okay, great. All right. Moving right along. Thanks, Joan, for all your updates too, and your summary that you always send out to us. So the exploratory subcommittee, just a quick, our last meeting, we met with Attorney Kemp. We invited Ed Gibson to join us in looking for, the opportunity for a new senior center. Amanda did let us know that minimally it would be $2.5 million. So certainly that's not enough to build anything, but it's certainly a nice down payment. So right now, we're trying to still get clarification as to what is meant in the will by a final plan. And also if we can get monies in advance for things like a feasibility study. So I don't know, Jonathan, you have anything you or Rini to add to that?
Yeah, but I'll let Rini take care of the next piece, which is the going forward with the to the select board with a permanent, having this committee morph into a feasibility committee, which would eventually morph after the feasibility study into a senior center building committee.
Right. So that's, that was later down on the agenda. Yeah. So we'll wrap it up now. We're looking, we're going to go, Joan and I are going to present to the select board on the 15th. A summary of what we've done to date, an update of the dollar amount, and a request to have the exploratory group become or morph, as Jonathan said, into more of an ad hoc feasibility study group to hire a company, if we could get monies in advance, to do a study as to what would be a good location, what we would need, what would be a design, kind of before we can move forward to create a building committee. Rini, anything you want to add, or Joan?
No, just that we've been visiting senior centers, and Hadley and South Hadley both have a new senior center. They both had the same architect that worked in conjunction with a design company that's specific to seniors. And they were very, very happy with them. So anyway, like Janet said, we're looking to see whether we can use the donation amount towards the feasibility study. We had a meeting with our attorney, the attorney from the will, Ed, myself, and the group, and very helpful in terms of explaining the process. What makes it difficult is that we have this time thing from 2 years from his death, which is April of 2023, we have to create a final plan. And so we're just getting clarification on what's the amount of the donation. We find out that it's minimum of 2.5 million. And also, we also are dealing with what does it mean by final plan? So that's what we've been trying to clarify.
2.5, right? You said 25, but 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5. Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh, I like reading.
Yeah.
You could do that and a public safety complex.
2.5.
We could do, the fire safety. We could be all set.
Yeah, so we're looking at other places. I think Joan mentioned a couple. Tomorrow we're meeting, the exploratory group is meeting, and Joan's going to give us an update at that time about a conversation she had with Kathy Bowler from MCOA. So we'll report back next month, or we'll keep you all informed as to any progress we make, and hopefully we can get the feasibility study. Ed thinks it could be a 6-month process. So when we have maybe 14 months to go, 6 is a lot. So we don't have to have it built. We just have to have a final plan in place. And it's kind of hard without the money to say, well, we want that property. Could you hold it until we get the money? So there's, there's some logistics and challenges involved in that. And then, of course, if we want to buy property, that usually goes in front of town meeting as well. So there's some.
Do we know what's going to be happening to the old Harley Davidson facility?
Well, it was purchased for $2.5 million already.
Yeah.
Smitty's Liquors owns it, but it's being rented right now by Hackworth, the dance studio.
The dance studio?
Yeah, I don't know what their long-term plan is for that. It's just a temporary, he had a fire.
Because it seems to me to be a good building, and it's.
Are we talking about
nice
Harley
parking lot.
Davidson or Peebles? Because I had heard Peebles was the dance academy, but it's
No,
Harley
it's Harley
Davidson.
Davidson. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty big chunk for us to buy something of that value. If that
Well,
would-
maybe just, buy a portion of it or, whatever, but just, coming up with ideas.
Well, that's why,
might be
that's
worth
why we're
looking
gonna hire
into.
this, it'll be great to hire somebody. Like I said to Jim, the Opa would have been a great location. But then,
They took out the
I mean,
bar
it's
to build
everything.
a
We didn't
church.
have $2.5 million then to think about it, so.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else before we move on? The senior scoop, we talked to Joan a little bit about that yesterday. We always seem to be kind of crunched to turn it around by that 15th. So Joan's gonna change some timing on it, right, Joan?
Right, I'd like to get articles submitted by the 10th. And that way, and Sylvia and Janet were both really helpful to catch, the typos, et cetera. But I know if they had a little more time to look at it, and we had a little communication with the emails. So I'm going to try and put something together by the 10th and then send it out. And then we'll have, 3 or 4 days to make the corrections.
So the other thing we kind of talked about was, because poor Joan, she sends it out to like 6 people, and 6 people are pounding her with emails. Some of them are repeating the same thing in different ways. And so that Sylvia might be her first go-to person, because she has a couple of red pens, so I've heard. And as a former educator, she's very good at proofing, and it's really hard to proof your own stuff. We all admitted that yesterday. So maybe go to Sylvia after everything's put together, and then send it out for one last glance after Sylvia's gone through it once, so that, again, you're not getting bombarded with emails and you miss something, and it's just doesn't seem very productive to do it that way, and we want to help. So if you have any articles you want to get to Joan for the April newsletter, besides Code Red and April 13th party, and we'll continue with the walk as we get more information about the walk. We're going to move the target up from the 15th to the 10th, so we're not in a crunch, and Joan's not there till 8 o'clock at night trying to get the final out. Any thoughts or other ideas? I mean, as we talked about, that's the face of the senior center, so it's important that it looks.
No, but I think we should thank Sylvia that we nominated her.
We've had this conversation before, so she knows.
And I did speak to her after we discussed it, and got her thumbs up.
I'm more than glad to do it. No problem. I've been.
It was unanimous, Sylvia.
Let's see who's
They
not
voted
here.
twice, Sylvia.
Okay, great. And the tablet lending program. Sylvia's also been working on a kind of a form to use like the library, like to sign out something instead of just letting them out and getting them back in, getting them reviewed maybe by Megan to make sure the software is updated. So we're going to need to start bringing the ones that are out in the field back in and asking people to renew them or have Megan take a look at them.
So Megan was in on Monday and she did exactly that. We have 3 tablets and 1 laptop, and she was able to get the laptop going. And so now one of our seniors has use of it, and she's doing committees and things. So she really needed the laptop. So she's, I'm not sure if somebody like that who's already, a tax work off volunteer, if maybe it should be somebody that can keep it longer than 30 days. I don't know.
But can be renewed. So I think
It can
it's,
be renewed. Yeah,
so
I
there-
did send an edited version today to the 2 of you. I left some question marks about, some questions that we need to answer, that we need to talk about. But they can renew it, of course, if nobody else is waiting for it.
Right.
But they need to, make the effort, just like the library, to either bring it back, to check it. Because a lot of times, we get notices that it needs to be updated, that my computer or the tablet needs to be, and I don't know if they know how to do that, or it needs to be done. So it needs to be brought back so that somebody else does it, check it out, clean it, and, also to check that there's no stuff there that is not acceptable.
Viruses or personal data that shouldn't be there.
Exactly, because if that goes to somebody else, there's privacy issues. And so whatever the person uses it and leaves there needs to be cleaned out. And, they need to be told that. Maybe I should add that to the form that I just sent you back, that they need to remove their personal information.
Unless they're going to renew it or something, so.
Right.
Yeah,
So maybe I
Can we
should.
ask them for, or is there a time limit? At least until they report, for them to report back and,
30 days.
okay.
Bye, Jenna. Bye, Katie.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Yeah, it's a 30-day, but again, it's renewable, but right
Yeah.
now they've been kind of out for, ever and nobody's checked them. So do we have most of them back, Joan?
So 3 never went out, and
Okay.
2 have come and gone twice. So we had 6, 3 are in the building and 3 are out.
Do we have
And I-
anything on it that says property of the Council on Aging?
I'm 90% sure. There
Good.
was, but it could be just as sticky. So
No, that's,
or-
I mean, yeah.
there is a tape that says, I think property of Council on Aging shows how to use it with directions how to use it.
Okay, great, good. Okay, perfect. All right, new business. We already talked about the, certainly the open space grant and the ad hoc committee for the feasibility study. So a couple of quick things under any other business that cannot wait to the next meeting. So the other day, last week sometime, I think Chris Fowles came across a survey that was done for the Deerfield area where they're doing consolidating a lot of towns into one senior center. It was a great survey. I went on to pull it up today and it says it's no longer available. So fortunately, Chris did print out every single page of it. She was able to save a page for a PDF. Not that we want to necessarily use that, but kind of say, is this something we want to use? Because we need to get it's probably a good idea to think about Joan having a survey for as we move forward, not just how are we meeting the needs of the seniors in town, not so much building oriented, but in general. So I know you got a chance to look through it, right? I'm sorry, I was hoping we could breeze through it today, but it's not available anymore. So, but we'll take a look, but it's something we've talked about doing and to the seniors. And I think Chris was willing to even maybe use Survey Monkey and help us with that. And Megan is very good at that. So maybe we can, try to start getting some feedback from this. What don't we have? What would draw you in? those kind of things, so we can start increasing the use of the facility. And I say to Joan, now that I'm South Hadley's COA, I love chair volleyball. I think we should bring it to Southampton.
We'd love to have it there. And we have high ceilings. It'd be a perfect
do.
place.
We can do it outside when it gets nice too.
We can, well, yes, we probably could.
The other real quick thing is our annual meeting is always in May. So just as a reminder, there are 2 individuals whose term expires this year. One is Lori Loisel, and I understood from Lori that, she's seriously thinking about not returning. So you guys work with her. And then the other person is Nancy. So, and certainly we would encourage both of you to continue if possible. And if for some reason you feel that it's not viable, then you have to find your replacement before your term is up.
That's right.
So not a big deal. And we don't have any more associate. We should try to recruit a couple more associate members.
Oh, right.
So, okay. So I'm not,
Nancy's not going anywhere.
yeah.
This is an exciting time to be part of the Council on Aging Board.
True. This is
With the
true.
potential of a new senior center. Don't you want to be on the cutting edge? Won't you want to be right there on the front, involved with it?
I was a member when. So,
Correct. You get
But
your
anyway,
name
this-
on the plaque. When the center opens, they put your name on the plaque.
Oh, that's
Wow.
that's definitely.
So May is our annual meeting. We do elections on that day. We do appoint our recommendations that we move forward to the select board at that time if there's any openings. So just to keep your thought in on that. So
May what? What's
well,
the
the
date?
first, whatever the first Wednesday is of May.
Probably
It is
4th.
May the 4th.
Thank you. Okay. All right. Anybody have anything else that we did not discuss yet?
And may the 4th be with us.
You're gonna one up Jim soon. Jonathan.
Yeah, I was just going to say that with respect to what Joan said about Nancy having her name on the plaque, Nancy, you can take a year or 2 off and then come back on just before the senior center is completed.
Great, Jonathan.
Thanks, Jonathan. You guys are so helpful. All right, so
Sorry.
Jonathan, you have to find her replacement then. How's that?
2, yes, fine,
Yeah.
2.
All right, anything else before we adjourn? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, I think Lori motioned and Sylvia, was that a second or were you motioning to
Second.
adjourn? Okay,
Second.
all right, let's do a quick roll call. Sylvia,
Yes.
Lori,
Yes.
Jim,
Yes.
Jonathan,
Well, yes.
Was that an abstention, Jonathan, or?
You want to stay here, Jonathan?
Josie.
Yes.
Okay, Nancy? And
Did I miss the treasurer's report? Yes.
you did. We did it because we
Okay.
knew you already knew it. And
Okay.
rather than postpone it till later, we figured
Oh,
there were more
okay.
important things we wanted you to weigh in on than what you'd already created. So,
And
Okay.
thank you for the very generous contribution. That was very nice of you.
and the only other thing, Nancy, is we're gonna work on that other alternative because,
Yeah, I
yeah,
can do that. I just didn't have time last
Yeah.
night. So,
yeah, that's good. So, because I don't think we can talk Jonathan and Jim into buying Max anytime soon. So
okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you're not able to open it.
they can
I'll
open
figure
it.
out.
They can't see the little tabby thing. So,
Figure it out.
Thanks for your efforts. Janet was keeping us informed.
Yeah.
so I was trying to. So it would-
You know, it might, well, never mind. Because I don't know what I'm talking about. I was thinking of a way around it, but it didn't even make sense to me when I thought about
so
it.
maybe we
so-
could ask Megan if she knows any way too. So 'cause
Yeah.
she's our techie.
That's a good
person.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll try my method first.
Okay. All right. Great. All right. Everyone have a great weekend.
Thank you. Take care.
evening.
And
Bye.
See you
Take care.
all.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.